Hey Chris, it's Quentin speaking. I'm just looking at your golf swing. This is the shot you hit on the third at Northland Golf Club. I like what you're doing here. There's lots of good things. A couple of suggestions. I think that your stance is still a fraction too narrow, so I'd actually recommend that your back foot just widened maybe about 2 centimetres. I also think that this area of your body here, which is your left-hand side, I'd like to see your left hip come forward a little bit more to create a little bit more spine angle. This green line up the top here, I'd like to see that a little bit more of a tilt, so it's maybe a bit more on that angle, and that's going to happen when you push your left foot and your left knee forward towards this little outside of the box, so a little bit more, and that'll actually allow us to make a better turn and a more balanced swing. So I think that would be really cool. Carrying on, starting on your backswing, I think that the club head moves too much, so I would like to see that it's more of a one-piece takeaway. So that would be having the club more like this here, and it would be down in the bottom piece here. You can see that you're moving your club head a little bit too much. I'd like to see that maybe more of a one-piece takeaway. You're almost feeling like the club head's the last thing to move in your takeaway, so your shoulders are turning and your arms are moving with that turn, and the club head is the last thing to move along that line. At the top of your backswing, what we can see here is that in actual fact you haven't really loaded too much weight into your right side. If I'm drawing it back at here, I'm expecting or hoping to see 75% of your weight on your right side. That's not happening. It's actually probably just as much weight on your front foot and your back foot. So what I'd like to see is actually with that wider stance you'll be able to get a little more weight into your right side, with feeling the club head lagging a little bit or not moving so fast or faster than your arms. That'll actually allow more weight to get into your right side as well, and that'll mean that you've got more weight and more body turn to use when it comes to hitting the golf ball. Really like what the club face has done at the top here. On the start down you can see there's no real weight shift there, it's just a body rotation. What we're wanting to happen is that we want the arms to move down a little bit more. This is almost an impact position with your lower body, and the club head's nowhere near it. The other thing that I'm looking at here is that you're wasting a lot of energies. At this point in time you can see that we have pretty much a right angle between the club and your arm, but if we go a little bit further down you can see that angle is actually starting to disappear, and it's starting to disappear pretty quickly. Now what that means for you, so the green one's a right angle and the yellow one you see is a lot less than a right angle. Now as a top player into this area here, they'd still have a right angle. It would still be up into here, and that might be something that we want to work on. Now the reason that's starting to go away is that your body turn, your lower body turn, is starting to slow down. So rather than you actually pulling your arms into the golf ball and then firing your turn, the body turn through the ball, what you're doing is actually all your body turn is slowing down, and that gets all those angles. Going to hit some shots that are pretty funky for you, which is a little bit fat and a little bit thin. I think this one's a bit fat looking at what's happening here. But fat and thin, it's definitely going to give you a few more issues as well. But when it comes to actually really maximising your driver, and one of the questions you asked me was how can I actually be more accurate? Well, one way is to make sure that you're retaining the lag or that angle between your arms and the club for as long as possible coming into the impact area, and then just smashing it at the bottom there with your forearm rotation. So little things to work on there. What I'll be starting on, number one, get the width to your stance a hell of a lot better. And I'll be working on getting the feeling of getting into the right side, creating a little bit more spine tilted address. That'll be a really good thing to do. And then what we want to do is work a little bit more on your sequences so that you're turning the club and your body together through the golf ball. So rather than actually slowing your pivot down and giving it a smack, we actually have your pivot and your arms and the club all got the same RPMs or very similar RPMs through the impact area. So they're working through that area together to get rid of the flip and to get rid of the slap that you've got going on at the bottom of your swing.